Hello everyone, it's your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only, here with another exciting video. You may know me better as Nicholas Benson. I run the Jet Black RLSH Publishing blog, and recently I've been doing a lot of OKKO content. Whether I'm just enjoying OKKO as a fan and writing interesting articles about it, or doing power scaling videos where, well, not videos, blog posts, where I'm talking about how strong KO is compared to other characters within his own universe, as well as characters from other universes. My OKKO power scaling blog posts in particular have been doing quite well, so I wanted to try and adapt some of those blog posts into videos for you guys to watch on YouTube. So I'm going to have a link to the blog post available in the comment section below. When it first is posted, it'll likely be in the description until the video is fully uploaded, and then I can post a comment. So you guys can read the blog post for yourself, but I'm going to read it to you in video form because I know some people just aren't big fans of reading, but would still enjoy the content anyways. So this particular blog post is from February 5th, 2023, and it is called Infinite Strength, Speed, and Durability in OKKO. I would like everyone to keep in mind that because this was written on February 5th, and each and every day I've been learning more and more about OKKO, and I've been adjusting my power scaling accordingly, that some of the statements made in this blog post may not gel with how I feel now in terms of OKKO power scaling. If we run into any particularly weird speed bumps along the way through the blog post, I will try and clarify where my opinions have or have not changed. Now, let's get started. Infinite strength, speed, and durability in OKKO. This article is not AI generated. The last article posted on this blog was about how the OKKO verse is stronger than you'd think. That article mainly focused on how star level in OKKO is a joke and how powerful the president of the universe is. Now, I addressed this in the video that I did about that previous blog post article. But the whole star level is a joke and OKKO thing is a little nebulous because of the fact that Cool Sun, which is the sun as a character in the OKKO universe, doesn't have an official level as far as I'm aware. I haven't seen any official media showing what his level is. However, the OKKO Wikia lists Cool Sun's level as level 2. So there's this weird situation where if you take his level to be level 2, you can do a lot of crazy scaling in OKKO based on that. But because that seems to be something that's on the OKKO, fan wikia, and because that's something that's on TV tropes, but the official OKKO blog shows Cool Sun's level as a bunch of question marks, like we don't actually know what it is, that could be conjecture. Regardless, let's continue reading through the blog post. I personally think a better argument could be made for how strong the OKKO verse is. This article is going to show how some of the weakest characters in the OKKO verse could arguably be described as having infinite attack potency, infinite durability, and the ability to move at the speed of light. Before we continue, I'd like to clarify something. I think some of the weakest characters in OKKO could have the potential to do a lot of those things based on what we're going to go over as we continue through. So I'm not going to be arguing that all of the weakest characters in OKKO can do those things, but I do think an argument is there to say that just because a character is low level in OKKO doesn't mean that they're not capable of doing those things. And when you take the level system of OKKO into account, it should be reasonable to say that if a character of a lower level is capable of doing something, that a character of a higher level, levels being indicative of power, should be more powerful than them and should have the potential to be able to do those things as well. But without further ado, let's move on to the next section of the blog post. What are levels in OKKO? In the OKKO verse, in the OKKO verse, character power is ranked with levels on a scale of a -100 to 100. levels are treated as absolute values, which means that a level negative 100 character is just as strong as a level 100 character. Characters with positive levels are heroic, while characters with negative levels are villainous. When comparing the levels of two characters from the OKKO verse, we take the absolute value of both characters' levels and see which is greatest. The character with the greatest level is more powerful. What are attack potency and durability? How durable a character is determines the amount of force they can withstand. Destructive capacity, an alternative term for attack potency, describes how much destructive force can be output by a character. Newton's third law of motion dictates that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. When taking Newton's third law into consideration, we can argue that if a character can withstand an amount of force, that they can also output that same amount of force. This means that a character with infinite durability could be argued to have infinite attack potency. The next section of this blog post is very controversial. I actually create a whole other blog post talking about this next section. So keep that in mind as we're reading through it, that there's certainly more to it than just what's going to be discussed here. The infinite destructive power of black holes. Gravity towards the center of black holes grows exponentially stronger, meaning that the tidal forces of the center of a black hole are arguably infinite. My current stance on that is that they are pseudo-infinite, which essentially means that the number is so big that we don't know how big the number is, to where mathematically you would just say it's infinite, but that doesn't literally mean that it's like an infinite amount of force. But let's continue on with the blog post. This means that to withstand falling into the center of a black hole, a character would have to literally withstand infinite force and therefore possess infinite durability. Again, my stance on this has changed. I think saying literally withstand infinite force isn't necessarily accurate. I mean, for all intents and purposes, from a mathematical point of view, a mathematician couldn't tell you how much force you would withstand by being in the center of a black hole and surviving it. They would essentially say it's infinite, but that doesn't literally mean that it is infinite. Continuing on. Based on what is mentioned in the previous section, talking about character levels and infinite durability equates to infinite attack potency. So essentially all of this is to establish that if a character in OKKO has infinite durability, then we can argue that they have infinite attack potency. So the next section for this blog post is OKKO characters level 4+ possess infinite durability. And again, I like to preface that by saying I believe that characters level 4+ should have the potential to possess infinite durability because, well, we'll get into why in a second. In the episode Deep Space Vacation, both Enid and KO casually survived and withstood falling into a black hole. KO at the time was level 4. Enid at the time was level 5. This establishes that characters in OKKO with a level of 4 or higher are capable of withstanding falling into the center of a black hole, have infinite durability, pseudo-infinite durability, and therefore possess infinite attack potency, pseudo-infinite attack potency. It could be argued that level 100 characters are 25 times more durable than and possess an attack potency 25 times greater than that of level 4 characters. And when you think about 25 times like a pseudo-infinite number, again, mathematically, you would probably just say it's infinite. A mathematician can't calculate like the pseudo-infinite amount of force that like the center of a black hole generates. So I think for all intents and purposes, even if it is like a pseudo-infinite amount of force, when you're crunching the numbers, you just kind of have to say it's infinite. We can't, there's not like a better way to describe it unless you try and use like a quality symbol, like tilde infinite kind of thing, estimated to be about infinite or something like that. It's really weird. But anyways, OKKO characters level 1 plus can move at light speed. This is also kind of a dubious claim, which I will clarify now. Essentially, this section is going to provide evidence that a level 1 character can move at light speed, which is true. We have just seen that in OKKO. But again, this is more of a potential thing, meaning that potentially characters that are level 1 or higher can move at light speed, which there is evidence for in the show. This is not to say that every character that's level 1 plus does move at light speed. So let's continue. In the episode Let's Meet Sonic, an OKKO villain named Jethro was shown to be capable of casually moving at light speed. Jethro has a level of -1, which establishes that characters in OKKO with a level of 1 or higher are capable of, see how I'm like mentioning like the potential, capable of moving at light speed. It could be argued that level 100 characters could be capable of moving at 100 times the speed of light. Conclusion. People underestimate how powerful the OKKO verse is. Characters 4 plus have infinite, pseudo-infinite, attack potency and durability. Characters 1 plus can move at light speed, or at the very least, have the potential to. The next time you hear people debating about who some of the most powerful characters in fiction are, don't forget to bring up the many powerhouses of OKKO. Thank you for sticking around with me for so long. I know we're a couple minutes over the normal 10-minute video format that YouTube loves. But thank you for watching, and if you want to read this blog post and follow the blog, feel free to click the link in the comment section below. When this video first comes up, the link will probably only be in the description. Peace. Check it about.